Hello everyone, welcome to Swiss Talk where we'll talk about Wikisource. I will give some statistics and talk about the dynamics and the pace of Wikisource, how it works and what is important. So, first, what is Wikisource? Wikisource is an online digital library which is a wiki, like many wikis supported by the Wikimedia Foundation. So it's work with the wiki power of collaboration. Everyone can help curate, proofread, manage the text and all the content in Wikisource. And like all Wikimedia projects, it's also under free license that can be reused as you want. In most cases on Wikisource, it is the public domain license, which means texts which are not under copyright anymore, mainly because the author died more than 70 years ago, depending on the jurisdiction. But in any case, you can reuse the contents which have been stored on Wikisource, and you can reuse it to read it online, but also offline on any device, ebook or mobile phone if you want. So back in 2003, there was only, when it was created, there was only one project, one multilingual project, like it is now for Wikidata or Wikimedia Commons. It was only one project where every language were together, but for different reasons it didn't work very well, so it was split in several languages in 2005. Since 2005, each big language has its own Wikisource, own project, independent from each other, still working together with the same principle. And this multilingual or old Wikisource, as we call it, still exists today, but it serves as an incubator for new language, which I will talk at the end of this presentation, where I can explain how to start a new Wikisource if you want. Now in 2020, we have more than 71 Wikisource, including the multilingual Wikisource and some closed Wikisource that didn't work for some reason, mainly at the beginning in 2005. And here you can see the 24, I guess, most biggest Wikisource in number of active users. And you can see some big languages like English, French, Chinese, Russian, that are a big number of active users, more than 100. And you see other languages that are more than 20, and then all the other 50 Wikisource are added together as the last bar in this diagram to put in perspective how it's other Wikisource are still big, even it's a lot of small Wikisource. In total, it's a big sum. That's it. And all together, the Wikisource are around 4.4 million texts, which is, again, when you do the total, a very big number. It's close to some big national library like National Library of France or United Kingdom or United States. Germany has more or less this kind of number, but just for one country it's all language together. And again, you can see that on the diagram, each circle is equivalent to the number of texts on each Wikisource. And you can see that, again, French, English, German, Russian, Chinese, Polish, Hebrew, Italian, Arabic, Spanish, and on Czech are the biggest Wikisource with more text, more documents. And you see that all the other Wikisource together have a bit less than 10,000 documents or text. It is important to remind that in Wikisource we have a lot of different texts It's not easy to count every term because one text can be a big dictionary or a small haiku or poetry. We welcome all type of documents on Wikisource as long as they are a source, they are published somewhere, and they are under a free license because you need to be able to reuse them afterwards. Now I want to talk about some more technical parts, not too technical parts, but what make Wikisource works and how it works quite well actually. And 4 million text in 15, 16 years is quite a big improvement, achievement, I think. So at the beginning, we proofread, we just basically copy-paste text from other sources into Wikisource, and that's it. But in 2008, there was, on the French Wikisource actually, first was created what we call the Proofread extension, that allow us to more easily manage and reread, proofread a text to make sure it has good quality, and also to ensure fiability and stability. It's reliable because you can see the text, the original text, as I show in the next slide. And it's very important. I will want to focus on that. You should use it. Really, it's game-changing. It's very important for Wikisource, and now big Wikisource always use it. Some smaller Wikisource or some old Wikisource still not always use it, but it's more and more used. And really, you should use it when you start a Wikisource, when you edit and contribute to an existing Wikisource. Use it all the time. It's sometimes a bit more work to do, but it's definitely worth it because it's easier to manage it and to work together, which is important for in a wiki project. So what does it look like? There's two parts. There's what we call index and pages. Here is a screenshot of an index page on the English Wikisource of the first version of Alice in Wonderland. And you can see we are in the index namespace. You have some metadata about this specific edition of a book. You have a cover displayed here. You have a status. How is it progress? Here it's done, for instance, or it can be in progress, or there's some problem to solve before doing the proofreading or whatever. There's different value. If there's several volumes, you can link to other volumes, etc., etc. And depending on the document, sometimes you have more field to put more metadata. And the important part at the bottom is the index itself of the pages, where you have the pagination and all the numbers of all pages. And you have a color to tell how much is it proofread. And you have like a synchronization light. You have red if it's just the start and it's not proofread at all. Yellow, it is better or almost perfect. And then you have a green state, which is when the page is fully, completely proofread, everything has been seen. And to access to the green state quality, you have to have at least two different users that proofread it. If, for instance, you can see that everything is green, this book is totally finished. It's complete. And if you click on one number, you can go on the page itself, which looks like that in that case. That's page number 3, which is actually the first page of the text. And you can see the screen divided in two spaces. First, on the right, you have the image of a book, of a page of a book itself. Here you can see it's a manuscript. As I said, we accept a lot of different books on Wikisource. In this case, if that's the first manuscript, that's even more important to have it. You can see also it's come from the British Library. There's a tag, but that's not a problem for us. And on the left, This is where the work really happens, where you type everything. In case of manuscript, it has to be done everything by hand almost, but there's also a tool when it's already published book. You can use what we call an OCR, optical character recognition system, which is integrated in Wikisource, and you can use it to do most of the work, and then when you edit the page you just tweak a little bit to do a better formatting, to put some colors in this case for instance, or some little things to make sure it is really similar, enough equivalent at least to the pages itself to be considered as validated green state. So here you have the first page, but you can do that for every page. So it's a bit of microtasking. You don't have to do the full book yourself. You can do page by page. And if you want to stop for today and start tomorrow or next week, you can do at your own pace. If there's several people, some people may start doing one chapter, other people do the next chapter, chapter 2, chapter 3. You can divide it. It's way easier to work that way. So again, I insist, but Proofread extension make the work really, really easier to proofread on Wikisource. Then another, a bit technical again, but there's some technicality in doing quality work. A big step was when in 2012 Wikidata was created. Because on Wikisource, as you can see on the diagram, first you have a file, which is the file you saw earlier, the pages and everything. So you have a multi-page file that you upload from a source, whatever, digital library or you do it yourself, that you put on Wikimedia Commons. And then you create the index with all the pages. And then you can transclude every pages together to do a book that you display on Wikisource. And you can do over curation and categorization on author for all poetry of the 19th century or whatever you want to aggregate together. And each and every time there's a lot of data behind it, bibliographical data, metadata about the file. And before Wikidata, everything was done by hand, and you have to put again and again, this is Adventure in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll at this time. It has so many pages and yada yada yada. And every time you copy paste the same metadata. And now, thanks to Wikidata, you don't have to type it again and again. You indicate it on one time at the beginning when you take it from the source, and then every time for the file, for the index, for the category, you reuse directly the data from Wikidata. And it's a great data management system, Wikidata. It's made expressly for dealing with data, so that's very good. And it's a huge improvement for Wikisource and for Commons also. Wikidata is here for 7 years now, and it's still ongoing. Wikidata is improved, and the integration of Wikidata inside Wikisource, the big part has been done, but a lot of things still need to be done. There's still things ongoing. We have templates with modules in Lua that retrieve data from Wikidata to make it nice and everything fine, but there's still some problem to manage, and as every librarian in every library in the world can tell you, data management can be complicated. You could have disambiguation. Is it the same as John Smith that wrote this book and this book? And Wikidata help us, but there's still data that need to be stored from Wikisource to make sure it's the same or not the same John Smith. So this is still a big part, still ongoing. A lot of work has been done. A lot of work still need to be done. The big part is here, the idea, but there's still some pieces, some scripts that are not fully compliant, that are not fully multilingual sometimes. Some things still need to improve. But there are some people in Wikisource working on that, on the technical side. So I have great hope it will be better and better again. And there's some Wikisite people and everything working on it. Then to talk about the space, the pace, and the dynamics, and how Wikisource work. If you come from Wikipedia or any other project, when you work on an article on Wikipedia, for instance, it's never fully complete. When you write about a person, something can happen to this person and you need to update the article. When you work on the building, it can be destroyed or changed or renovated or whatever. It's not the case on Wikisource because we transcribe books and we proofread them. We have a very specific dynamics which allow us to complete a work. And when it's done, it's done. There's nothing more to do. When you did the last page of a book on Wikisource, you're quite happy because, yeah, I did it. I did 500 pages of some dictionary or some poetry books, and you don't have to come again, do more things to do some updating. When it's done, it's done. So it allows Wikisource to build up on that, to store more and more, and with a small community, you don't need to, there's very few vandalism, and if there's vandalism, you can see very quickly because all books, transcribed books finished, don't need to be changed. So if you see a change, that's something strange, you spot very easily. And you can work on new books and add them again and again to the collection. So this is very, very strange for, at least for Wikimedian, for Wikipedian, but it allows to work on your own pace, to not waste time, but still building step by step, book by book, or page by page even, and to grow very, very quickly. There's a lot of potential for Wikisource to grow very big. As I said, it allows strong growth. And you can especially see that on Indic languages. Here is a screenshot of a tool that measures the growth of several wiki in 2019. And you can see that this is the project, the languages with the most growth, and you can see there's a lot of Indic languages among them: Assamese, Punjabi, Marathi, Gujarati, and some other Asian language, Vietnamese and Japanese, has a strong growth, sometimes over 100%, which double in size in 1 year, almost triple in the case of Assamese. And this is mainly because of the Proofread extension, as I said, that allows to build again and again, but also to the dynamic. And I need to say congratulations to the people in India who work a lot on these languages to make them work and work very well. And you can see also, for instance, the Welsh Wikisource has a strong growth, but it was, quote, more easy for them because they started with a small number of pages, books. Yeah, the tool say article, but it's pages in the wiki term, wiki sense. So yeah, for Welsh it was, or Esperanto even, it was more easy. But you can see that the Punjabi Wikisource, for instance, went from around 10,000 text to 30,000 text, which is quite nice, more than double. That's very big. Yeah, congrats to them, I need to say that. So in the Indic Wikisource, there's a lot of things that has been done to build a community, to build better tools to support their language, and especially the way the language is written, because the script in Indic is very specific and needs some adjustment. And one big thing that works very well, that has been proven to be efficient, is the proofreading contest. You say, yeah, for 1 month, everybody working on these 100 books, you have to prepare them before, but everybody working together for achieving one goal together. And there's a lot of emulation that works very well. And especially here, on the Punjabi Wikisource contest, you have some numbers. The contest was held, organized a lot of it was done by Wikilovers90, which is Rupika, and she has done really a tremendous job, and you can see the number of active users in 2019, end of 2019 and beginning of 2019. So in 3 months, you see that the English or French or Italian Wikisource has grown a little bit. More and more users came organically, naturally, I would say. But on the Punjabi Wikisource, they started from 0 to 24 in 3 months. And you see that now we are almost at the same size as the Italian Wikisource, and that's really a big achievement. And the Punjabi Wikisource was created 3-4 years now, maybe. So that's very impressive how, yeah, just some small community insight organization help a lot to achieve a big growth. It's just not just the proofreading tools and all the techniques. It's important to start as a foundation, as a good ground, but then to really have a thriving community, you need to do some animation, and Wikisource contest is one example that works very well. And there's other examples, of course. And to finish this presentation, I will talk about how you can start also your own Wikisource, or how you can help editing existing small language Wikisource if you want. And basically, the biggest problem is always the source, where you find source that can be proofread with the proofreading system. You can do without the proofreading system. Some Wikisource do that, but in the long run, it's always better to use the proofread system. I really focus on that, but it's really true. Experience has proved that it's very important. So you need to find sources, and you have basically 3 options that all good. You have to know all of them and to mix them to achieve the best possible collection on your Wikisource, your future Wikisource, I hope. The first obvious one is to look at big digitized international library, I would say. National Library of France, of British Library in London, or Internet Archive also, or even Google Books sometimes have a lot of books. Because as they are big, they have a lot of books, and they have small percentage of books in Welsh, for instance, or in Indian language, Marathi, Punjabi, whatever. But a small number, a small percentage of a big library is still a lot of books, so you don't need to neglect that. That's often interesting. Sometimes it's more only the big books in your language, the classicals, like the Bible in your language, is easy to find on big digital libraries, or dictionaries or things like that. But it's still things that can be done. Then the second obvious choice is to go to more local library, regional or municipal library. Here you have a big percentage of books in the local language, hopefully, and you can find them more easily because it's a big percentage. But very often it's more small libraries, so there's less book. So you need to do both to have a good collection to collect very representative books, and to have books of all kinds that can attract people interested in buying poetry or dictionary is very different, or freshly plays, or newspaper can be done also. That's very small pieces that can be fun to do. Oh, what happens 100 times ago? And newspaper obviously can be found in the local libraries. And then it's not the easiest option, but you can do the digitization yourself. You can take a physical book, scan it, do the PDF or the multi-page file déjà vu as you want, and upload it to Commons. It's more time consuming, but it's also more rewarding, because if you do that, don't do that for all text, but for a text that have never been scanned before by big or local libraries, there's really a value that is added And oh, you can say, this book is only on Wikisource, I did it. It's more work, more rewarding. What is important in the end is to mitigate all three options, to mix them, to find easy book where it's easy to find them, and then you can do harder books if you build a community for the start with the easy one, short books, short texts, easy to understand and everything, and then you can do more things specific and start with that. And if you do a contest, you can do a contest about a specific thematics or about different thematics, but if you do it one or several thematics, it's important to have different length of text, short one, big ones, to accommodate for everyone. And that's how you can start your own Wikisource, and more importantly, starting building a community that can be thriving and working for forever, ideally. So that was the big part. Thank you for listening. You can contact me on wikis or on social media, Twitter, Facebook, you can find me. Don't hesitate to contact me, I'm glad to help. Thank you.